Hey everybody, this is Stephanie from Hope and Love Radio, and today I'm interviewing Ken Midler from North Carolina. Ken, welcome, and would you like to tell us about your music and your story?
Yeah, well, it's been quite a long journey, and I've basically been performing music my whole life. Well, basically, got started towards the end professionally towards my last years in high school, and then from then on, I've been performing out professionally in college. That was back in Buffalo, New York, originally, where I was from originally. And I was in quite a few bands, jazz band. I had the wonderful opportunity to one of the first bands I was in happened to meet Eric Williams, who was a phenomenal keyboard. We're still friends to this day. He was one of Rick James's keyboard players. I don't know if how many people are aware that Rick James is actually originally from Buffalo, New York. And Eric Williams was on a lot of Rick James projects like the Mary Jane Girls. Just a absolutely phenomenal funk jazz keyboardist. He's still performing. He gets all the calls when the big artists come to Buffalo. He's the one that gets the call. And that was just an amazing opportunity to have one of your first bands be with a musician like that. Doesn't get any better. The kind of training that I had and the way they showed me the ropes really gave me just a wonderful experience. We had a R&B band back in Buffalo, and to have a musician like that in one of your first bands was just phenomenal experience. We played for a few years in Buffalo, and then I ended up moving to Florida. Was there for 20 years, and had started out. Made some wonderful friends. Basically, we're all on the same page. We were studying jazz musicians, training ourselves to become session musicians, and we had eventually managed and produced a Stratus rock band. I was in a Motown band with a wonderful Motown band leader by the name of Derek Hadley with the Motowners. And we had about 5 bands going between the friends. We had a jazz fusion band going, a classic rock band, a bebop that we did. The person that we met that mentored us at bebop was Jet Nero, who passed away a while ago. Was a wonderful, became a wonderful friend of ours, and we were doing bebop with him. That was his life. In the summertime, he would go to Europe and play in the streets in Europe. He was that dedicated of a musician when it was slow in the summer. And I can remember the first cafe we got started out in, Cool Beans. We were playing for $10 and a sandwich 20 years ago. And so we did a lot with the Motowners, and we did a jazz fusion band with a bass player friend of ours, and I did the classic rock band. We worked our way up to we were performing one of the big city events in Hollywood, Florida. I got the video of that there. You can check out the Stratus band playing in Hollywood on my YouTube. You can see how good that band was. And we had a horn guy. We had an awesome vocalist, Kevin Martin, and one of my best friends who passed away recently, Kenny Roof on keyboards. and we had a great bass player, guitar player, and along the ways, I started doing my original project as a side project, electronic project. I was really impressed or influenced when the trance movement came along. I said, "Boy, I'd really like to do that, but with with real instruments." And so I was actually doing that as a side project, and our band started having problems. One of the members was having problems with it. He had a drug problem, so that really put a hammer in that band. So which caused me to move forward with we were still going with the Motowners and other projects, but that caused me to move forward. I with the electronic project, I had got signed by a record company that had actually gone out of business. But I have to credit them to get me performing. They encouraged me to start performing my original music, and started out with the old way of doing it with the sequencer. Transferred everything over to that time I was using the smallest layman version of Pro Tools. This is what I actually recorded the first CD, Soul Journey. And ever since then, I've been performing, getting more performances, and moving along with the original project. I've been in North Carolina for 3 years now, and I was very surprised at at how open-minded they've been here in North Carolina. I've actually been getting more work here in North Carolina than Florida. Florida's an electronic state. And so, yeah, I've been advancing with that. Finally got everything transferred over to the newer, one of the newer recording softwares called Logic. And I'm performing with that now, which has just increased the quality and the capabilities of the electronic project tremendously. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. I've got a steady thing going with one of the city projects, and I've got another steady gig coming up. It's going to start out every 2 weeks, and so yeah, just been working on that. Working on I have a new LP coming out, working on that as well. So doing a whole bunch of things at the same time. So I'd like to get that LP out faster, but I'm doing so many other things. It's I can only move forward that as fast as I can. But yeah, so that's basically what I've been doing now, and it's a very unique sound that I developed. After with talking with my counselors, which are just people that come along that are you know music enthusiasts that know the business. We decided to, because of how unique it sounds, from the wide variety of music I've studied. It has international sound. It's got a electronic sound, jazz, 80s. So we decided to call it World Jazz EDM. We gave it its own category, and yeah, so that's what I've been doing.
Thank you. And what is your creative process like when you write your music?
Yeah, well, what I do is basically I don't go into the studio with any pre thought out type of sounds or patterns, whatever. I just go to the studio cold because I want to continue with the unique sound. I don't try to do any popular chord progressions or songs from the past, or what I do is I just completely closed out in the studio room, and I'll either get influenced. My last song that I'm working on now, or my most recent song I'm working on, was influenced by one of the chord patches from the montage, and so I'll either get influenced by it could be a chord patch from the keyboard or from Logic, or I might do a bass line that comes to mind, or just maybe even a drum beat. Start out with a drum beat, and then go from there. If I start out with the chord patch, then I'll add in the bass line melodies, and some cases horns or other chord patches, and find out which sounds work best with the way it's going. And then I'll add in the bass and drums, and everything that I do is actually played in, so I don't use any pre-recorded loops in my music. There are no pre-recorded loops, or anything that's pre-recorded. It actually gets played in either by the keyboard or the drums. And I also have a wonderful instrument called the Mallet Cat, which is a synthesizer vibraphone, from my percussion studies at the University of Buffalo. And I've come a long way with that. It's been particularly useful in creating like bass lines or guitar parts, with the kind of attack and punch that it gives. It really gives a unique, more realistic sound to whether it's a bass line or a lead line or a guitar part. So I'll use that a lot in the studio. I use that in performances. You can see it on my videos. And so that's basically how the songs go from there, and how they're created. It's just an amazing process. It's just sometimes you don't know where things come from. I look at one of my songs, Dios me salvo, and I look back and say, I don't even know how I created that song. It's like a cross between a Latin, Brazilian, jazz fusion, techno house. Yeah. And I look back, I can't even imagine how I created that song, Deus me salvo. I just get in the studio, shut myself out, and let the creative processes. It's a magical thing that happens when you're creating music. So yeah, that's kind of how it goes.
Thank you, and I agree with you. So now we're going to play one of Ken's songs. It's called Soul Journey. Ken, would you like to share a little bit about it?
Yeah, Soul Journey was my latest single. That was the song that was actually done on Logic. So is my first song done on completely on Logic instead of the old layman's Pro Tools. There's definitely a big difference in the sound quality on that. And although it was originally done on the sequencer or the Triton Pro, I did sequence on that first, and then I transferred the MIDI over to the Logic, and then recorded the audio. And it's basically that was entitled after my project is entitled Soul Journey. That's the theme of taking a trip through space with the Holy Spirit, and just taking out of life's problems, having it take a trip through space and the stars. It's really, when I talk to somebody, I say, yeah, that's it. It's an exact description of your music. And so yeah, that was another wonderful song that just came out through that creative juices. And as I mentioned, that was the first one that was produced entirely on Logic, which is the software that I use. And feel free to go ahead and give it a play. How was that?
That, that was awesome. I loved it. Thank you for sharing. It was very trance-like. I felt myself like rocking to the beat. That's very cool.
Yeah, the thing about that was actually a live performance. Everything you heard actually came out. That was the first keyboard I started out with, the Triton, which was the pretty much the best keyboard for electronics and techno at the time. It's now it's the Montage is what I have now, but everything actually came out of that keyboard, and it was actually live. When you heard, sometimes parts were muted, and then the bass came in, and the drums came in, but it was actually, muting that on the 16-track sequencer and soloing, and so we're actually kind of surprised at how that came out. It was a live version of the song. Yeah. So, and then I had a wonderful videographer friend who did that for me back in Florida, did the video part of it. So pretty proud of that one. Yeah. What's unique about it is, that it was actually done live on the sequence. You hear me doing the pitch bends and on the keyboard on the other tracks, and the muting and soloing. So that was actually a live on the spot version of the song.
So, Ken, I have a question for you. For some who may not know, what is Logic? You mentioned it's a software that you use.
Yeah, there's some main ones out there. Logic is one of them. Ableton, and would be an example of another one. And these are the predominantly powerful music softwares recording that you do both. You can do both the MIDI audio in some cases. If you're into videos, you can do that with them as well. But that is basically kind of what has replaced studios. Someone can actually do recording and have it come out as good as depending on how good you get and your engineering skills are. You could basically have a recording that comes out to the level of a record label now, right in your home. And some people don't realize that some of the songs that you hear from your favorite artists or on the radio or on your favorite CD or whatever your download may have actually been produced by an engineer in their home. It's just an amazing tool that allows you to record the MIDI, which is the computer information. For example, it tells you what note you played, and it records pitch bends and what effects, and then you can add effects like your MIDI delays and your compressors, and and then it also does the audio. So once you do your MIDI, or you can just record audio live, whether it's vocals or guitar or whatever. But once you've done your MIDI, then you run it back through and you record your audio, and basically allows you to become your own producer. But it is quite complicated. You have to have an engineer's ear, and you got to be a computer geek. If you're not a computer geek, it's just not going to happen. It's just too complicated. It's very, very, very extremely complicated. Takes a while to learn, and then you need to have engineers if you're going to produce it to the point where you're going to release it. Some people record just the tracks, they get it to where they want it, and then they send it off. So you can if you don't have the mastering engineer's ears, you can record it to the point where it's good enough for you to send it to someone that can, finish it off for you. But yeah, so it's the actual Logic is one of the audio and MIDI recording softwares, and it's the one that everybody has their own that they like. A lot of people like Ableton. Your rappers and DJs or hip hoppers, they have a tendency to go towards Ableton, but I think some of that's changing. People are, in my opinion, people are starting to come around to Logic a little more. But everything comes with it, so you don't have to buy any extra plugins and so forth. And plugins are like your effects, delays, choruses, echoes, compressors, and so forth. And yeah, so that's what Logic is, and that's the software that I use to record my music now.
Thank you. So Ken, what challenges have you faced being a songwriter and a music producer?
So what?
What challenges have you faced?
Well, I think the biggest challenge was I wish that I had started because it took me a while to get acclimated to the Logic. Doing it with the sequencers, it was basically an older way of doing it. This way they used to do it. They used to do it on the sequencers, like the keyboard that you've seen, and then transfer everything over to the like an audio interface or audio engineer or interface. And so now that I'm acclimated, I'm okay. I've made the transition, and so that was my biggest challenge. As I kind of wish I had started out that way, but now that I'm there, I guess it doesn't matter. So that was my biggest challenge, transferring and get everything over to the Logic software.
Thank you. And what do you wish you had known when you were first starting out?
That's what I wish I had known. I wish I had known that I wish I had started out with the Logic software. I was aware of it, but I had no idea that it was just so much. The recording softwares were so much more advanced, and by the time I was doing it on sequencers, that was already old way of doing it. Now some people still do it. You still can, because some people just can't switch over, because as I mentioned, you have to be a computer geek in order to work with the Logic or the Ableton, or one of the other softwares. So you still can start out with a sequencer. Some people still do that, and then they have someone else do the rest. Once they record what they want to record, they have someone else put it on their software, transfer it over, and do the rest from there. Or you can still make basic songs. Doesn't have to be a song. Doesn't have to be super produced on a recording software. Songs come in all different forms, but you just won't be able to do those really highly advanced effects that you hear the DJs doing. And if you listen to any of your DJs, the house and the techno music, those highly advanced sound effects that you hear going on, without the software, you won't be able to get it to that point. But yeah, so that was just that. It used to be my hang up, but now it's all, I'm completely acclimated and transferred over to Logic, so everything's on its way.
Thank you. And what has been your biggest accomplishment so far?
Well, I think Soul Journey. As I mentioned, the first one produced on Logic. I think that's been but I would consider my. I have 3 LPs, the first CD and a couple more LPs on my website through Reverb Nation that you can go check out. Everything's Ken Midler. So I would have to say the CD and the LPs that I've recorded so far in Soul Journey, but waiting till finally get when I can get my newest LP released. That'll be great. So we look forward to that.
Thank you. And so now we're going to play one of Ken's other songs called Transfiguration. Would you like to tell us a little bit about that one as well?
Yeah, sure. Well, that one, once again, I think I was just influenced through one of the core patches on the Triton. And I was actually able to put in some of there was the little more advanced echo effect. You hear that like in the beginning of the song and the end of the song. So how that came out is like I when I look back, I can't after I'm finished done with it, I can't exactly remember how it went, or just when those creative juices get flowing, and then once you're finished, it's done, and sometimes you can't even remember how it was how you did it. Yeah, so but that that's along my the theme of Soul Journey, designed to just listen to these and take you away from life's problems and travel through the stars and planets with the Holy Spirit, and just hopefully the songs will minister to you. And yeah, that's Transfiguration, which was named after the transfiguration of Jesus in the Bible, where the 2 apostles witnessed Jesus being transferred to his heavenly figure, the way he would appear to us now in heaven, showing that because of his deity, his God is being God in the flesh. So that's what the song was named after, was the transfiguration of Christ in the Bible. Yeah, I gotta come back to earth in that one. Yeah. You got you there? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, to come back to earth on that one. And I had that actually backwards. First one was Transfiguration. That was Soul Journey. Soul Journey was basically it. That's what you saw is what Soul Journey is all about. So the cool thing about that, the video I actually did myself through a video tool of my distributor CD Baby. They had to have a video creation tool, and that's how that one was done. Yeah, but that basically is kind of like Soul Journey project in a nutshell. So
I love that. That was really neat, and I love the video too. The way you were able to have all the
yeah,
different moving images. It was really, really neat.
yeah, yeah. It's actually an easy process through the video tool they have on it. So I'm no videographer. That's not one of my specialties, but you just put together the lines and it kind of like does the rest for you. It matches up the tempo and everything. So
Ken, how can we best support you? Like, what can we do to help you?
well, come to my gigs. I do have music on 3 albums or 3 LPs. Soul Journey 1, 2, and 3. Soul Journey is titled Soul Journey. Soul Journey 2 is The Journey. Soul Journey 3 is God's Depths. I'll be coming out with Soul Journey 4, but that's not out yet. Yeah, I have the music and the albums on Reverb Nation. Or you can just go to my website. It's all through Reverb Nation. Ken Midler, everything's KenMiddler. Or if you can stream my songs on it's on everything. Apple Music, Spotify. It's on like about 1,000 different platforms. So whatever one you listen to, it should be on there. Just everything's, you can just look up Ken Midler and then come to the gigs. Support click on watch the videos. For the views, and it's not asking for much at this point. So, but if it's designed to be a ministry and hopefully minister to you and through the music and if you can come out to the gigs if you're in the Raleigh, North Carolina area. The next one was with the city at Morris Square on September 9th. So the beautiful big inner city park. They got a nice food stand there, and they got water jets for the kids, and it's you can see the beauty and everything that there is in the Raleigh area. They've got so much to do there. Just went to the Science Museum recently. That was really nice. And then 2 weeks after that, I'll be starting at Uptown Dogs. There's only one Uptown Dogs in Raleigh. So the Raleigh City is going to be the second, and then that's going to start on the 16th at Uptown Dogs. And so if you come out and it's it's not much to ask at this point. So yeah, come out to the gigs. If you want you can actually purchase the songs or albums on through the website Ken Midler. You just Google Ken Midler, kenmidler.com, or you can and then you can join the email list through the website, or through Reverb Nation is where I use for that. And then of course Spotify, Apple, whatever all the other ones are. Basically on every music platform that's out there. Even if you just stream or listen, that's fine with me.
Thank you. Is there any advice you have for emerging musicians, and is there anything else that you would like to add?
Yeah, well, I always like to do that because the way I got started was I always tell people to make friends in music. How I got started in Florida before I was exclusively doing my electronic project. I really had a pretty big network of friends, musician friends that kept us going. As I mentioned, there was at least 5 projects we were doing between the Motowners. I highly recommend looking up the Motowners. Florida is just in my opinion, is one of the greatest Motown groups. I was playing drums for them. With making music with friends, that way, so you're not, saying, get out there and perform, and don't, if music is really for you, you should get gratification from playing. Whether it's a small amount of people or a large amount of people at a city event or a coffee shop, even if there's like a handful of people there listening to you, and by that you should get gratification from that. If music is from you, then be content. So many stars got started just either playing out in the street or in bands and clubs. I and so making the friends, and get yourself out, and even if it's a coffee shop, just just to get yourself out there, because if people are listening to you, they don't care about how many people you're playing in front of. They like to see how you're just the gratification, even if it's just a small number of people. And don't wait. If you're a young person and you get signed by a record label and you're young, that's a fantastic thing. But if you're waiting to get signed, don't sit there making videos. I mean, videos are great, and but don't just sit there making videos. Get yourself out there. Start your own music business. If you're, the Motowners are one of my friend. Friends to this day, Derek Hadley. I mean, he has a wonderful business. He plays from Florida to North Carolina to Texas. He plays, they have 3 bands at 3 different places all at the same time. So, don't sit around there waiting. Develop a music business of your own while you're waiting to get signed. And even, that way, should it matter whether you get signed or not, you could all the tools out there that the record companies provide are all out there, for you. And, you see the video I did with Soul Journey, and I'm not even a videographer. That was just a tool that was done from one of the CD Baby video tools, and just keep building the social media. And the most important thing, as I mentioned, is make friends, and and get yourself out there performing, and don't sit there waiting around. Getting signed is a wonderful thing, and but don't continue to do your own music business while you're waiting. In the meantime, that's the advice I give.
Thank you. Is there anything else you would like to add?
No, I think I'm pretty good. Just the events I got coming up. The city of Raleigh, and then Uptown Dogs. If you come out and support that, that'd be great. And then I always post my events. I got the Facebook, I got the YouTube. I actually do my music on LinkedIn. That's my LinkedIn. So you can follow me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and just to see what's coming up next.
Thank you, Ken, and thank you so much for being here. As for everybody, the interview will be on the radio station tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. PST. Also be on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube.
Oh yeah, and I want to thank you. Yes, thanks, Stephanie. Yeah, thanks for the interview.
And also my email newsletter. We thank everybody for watching, and we will speak to you soon. Take care. Bye.
Okay, have a great day. Thank you.